There are only two kinds of people in this world: the ones who run the game and the ones getting played like fools. And the difference? One rule: outsmart everyone, or get outsmarted by anyone. Forget morality, forget fairness. Those are bedtime stories told to losers so they sleep peacefully while being silently dominated by sharper minds. Look around. The people at the top, they're not the kindest, they're not the loudest, they're not even the strongest. They're the ones who know how to think 2 moves ahead while making you believe you're in control. While you're talking, they're analyzing. While you're reacting, they're setting the trap. And while you're hoping for approval, they've already mapped your emotional blueprint and figured out how to use you. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Power doesn't go to the loudest voice or the biggest ego. It goes to the one who masters psychological warfare in silence. He who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. That's not a quote. That's a warning. Because in every room you enter, someone is calculating whether you're a threat, a tool, or a target. If you don't know the rules, you're not in the game. You're the pawn. You're the mark. You're the entertainment. But today, that changes. You're about to learn 6 Machiavellian rules that will make you unpredictable, undefeatable, and untouchable. Not for show, not for applause, but so that no one ever again plays you without punishment. Before we dive into these 6 Machiavellian rules, make no mistake, every word from this point forward will give you an edge that most people don't even know exists. If you think the world rewards fairness, leave now. But if you've ever been underestimated, manipulated, or outplayed, this is how you turn the tables. These rules will make you unreadable, untouchable, and unbreakable. So if you're serious about walking into every room with silent dominance, subscribe. Because after this, you don't just survive the game, you run it. Run it. Nah. Rule number 1, mask your intentions ruthlessly. If power is the game, then your intentions are your greatest liability. Every time you openly state your goals, your enemies adjust. They realign, they scheme, and they begin working, consciously or not, to undercut you. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He warned, everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. That's not poetry. That's a strategy manual. Revealing your true aim is like walking into battle with your war map taped to your chest. Whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, negotiating a deal, or building influence, you must never walk in telling people what you truly want. Why? Because as soon as you declare it, they either mirror it, block it, or sabotage it. The moment people know your trajectory, they start calculating your fall. Disguising your true intent isn't lying. It's strategic concealment. The weak confuse transparency with morality. The strong understand that power flows to those who control the narrative, and part of that control is misdirection. Let others believe you're disinterested. Let them think you're content where you are. Let them underestimate you. It's far easier to bypass resistance when no one sees you coming. Think about predators in nature. The most successful hunters aren't loud. They don't roar before the kill. They camouflage. They move slow. They don't broadcast. They ambush. The same rule applies in boardrooms, politics, and social power plays. In a Machiavellian framework, hiding your intention isn't deception, it's defense. Because when your mission is exposed, it becomes a target. So what do you do instead? You talk less, you observe more, you speak vaguely, you plant seeds that lead others away from your true objectives. And when it's time to strike, you do it without warning. By the time they realize what you are after, it's too late. You already own it. Master this, and you'll outmaneuver most people without lifting a finger. Now that you've sealed your intent behind a mask, let's talk about the next layer of psychological warfare. Rule number 2, weaponize selective honesty. In a world of deception, one well-placed truth becomes the deadliest lie. This is the Machiavellian art of selective honesty, the tactic of revealing just enough to make others lower their guard while your true intentions remain cloaked in shadow. Why does it work? Because human psychology is predictable. People are hardwired to trust consistency. When you offer a moment of raw vulnerability, Confess a minor flaw, admit a small mistake, you trigger a powerful reaction, relatability. And once they see you as honest, their defenses collapse. They stop questioning your motives. They start accepting your version of reality. And that's when the real manipulation begins. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are simple and so deceived by appearances." He understood that the most effective manipulation isn't brute force, it's elegance, subtlety. The art of appearing transparent while operating in complete secrecy. He knew that one visible truth can mask 1,000 hidden moves. A single act of honesty can give you unlimited leverage. This is why manipulators confess small sins to hide greater ones. A corrupt politician admits to a youthful indiscretion and suddenly looks authentic. The business partner shares a sob story and you assume they'd never betray you. The seducer reveals past heartbreak and you assume their love is real. But every confession is a calculated trade, short-term vulnerability for long-term control. Think about it. Why do the most dangerous people often lead with brutal honesty? Because it disarms you. You confuse openness with integrity. You assume transparency equals trust. But Machiavellian psychology flips that assumption. Honesty isn't a moral compass, it's a tool, a trap, a decoy. The master of this rule doesn't lie outright. They let you believe what you want to believe. They offer just enough truth to shape your perception, and then they vanish behind the illusion they helped you build. To apply this rule, confess something minor when you need to build credibility. Use that credibility to push a deeper agenda. Never offer unnecessary truth. Every word must serve a strategic purpose. And remember, once they believe you're honest, you've already won. Because the next lie, it won't be seen, it'll be swallowed whole. Truth, in the hands of the cunning, becomes the sharpest blade. Rule number 3, mirror their mind, then manipulate it. People don't trust logic. They trust familiarity. They follow those who reflect them, who speak like them, feel like them, and see the world through the same lens. And that's where this next Machiavellian rule reveals its ruthless power. Mirror their mind, then manipulate it. This rule is rooted in one brutal truth. Humans are drawn to their own reflection. The moment someone thinks, "This person gets me," they open the gates. It's not about agreeing with them. It's about resonating with their emotional frequency, their tone, their energy, their rhythm. You don't knock on the door of their mind, you become the key. Salesmen use this, seducers live by it. Spies are trained in it. They don't impose, they infiltrate, they listen, they mimic, they mirror. And in doing so, they slip past resistance and anchor themselves deep within your subconscious. This is social camouflage turned into psychological warfare. Machiavelli never said, "Rule from above." He said, "Influence from within." He believed true power wasn't enforced, it was accepted. Not because you demanded it, but because others invited it. That's what mirroring accomplishes. You don't overpower someone, you guide their own reflection. But beware, this isn't about imitation. Too much mirroring becomes mimicry, and mimicry triggers suspicion. The key is subtlety, strategic echoing. Match their energy, not their exact words. Reflect their worldview, not their vocabulary. It's the essence you mirror, not the surface. Here's the tactical breakdown. If they speak fast, speed up. If they speak slow, relax your tempo. If they're emotional, show empathy. If they're analytical, be precise. Find their values and reflect them back like a polished mirror. Once trust is built, once they see themselves in you, you become their guide, their interpreter, their silent commander. And at that point, influence is effortless. They're not resisting, they're following. Because in their mind, you're no longer a threat. You're them. And when you control how someone feels around you, you control what they'll do for you. So mirror them slowly, carefully, then lead them straight into your web. Rule number 4, create dependence, then withdraw. Power is never about what you give, it's about what they lose when you leave. This 4th rule is one of the most savage, elegant forms of psychological domination ever devised. Because the ultimate form of control is not possession, it's absence. Here's the game. First, you become indispensable. You offer clarity when they're confused, strength when they're weak, insight when they're lost. You don't overpower them, you build them, you make them better. And in doing so, they begin link their progress, their peace, their power to you. Then, once they're leaning on you, you disappear. Suddenly, the silence speaks louder than your presence ever did. The withdrawal creates vacuum, emotional withdrawal, intellectual distance, strategic absence. And in that emptiness, they start to panic. They question themselves. They chase. They beg. Because they no longer know how to function without your validation, your input, your influence. This is not manipulation for its own sake. It's strategic architecture. It's how kings ruled their courts, how cult leaders ensnared millions, how mentors and manipulators throughout history ascended to untouchable positions. Machiavelli knew this. Men must either be caressed or destroyed. If you give in a way that creates attachment, and then take it back with the precision of a surgeon. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to threaten. All you need to do is leave. Understand the psychology here. People fear loss more than they value gain. When you become their source of certainty and then introduce uncertainty, you destabilize them. You don't need to control their choices. You control their need for you. Tactical application. Be the calm in their chaos, then vanish. Be the clarity in their confusion, then go silent. Be the reward they chase, then shift the terms. The moment you're gone, they'll start rebuilding the pedestal you used to stand on. Because humans don't just miss people. They miss the power structure those people created in their lives. And once dependence has been formed, you never need to dominate them again. They'll dominate themselves just to win you back. Be the storm, but be more dangerous as the absence that follows it. Rule number 5, always control the frame, never the fight. The strongest weapon in any conflict isn't force. It's framing. Because when you define reality, you don't need to win the battle. You decide what the battle means. Most people fight to defend themselves. Machiavellians don't. They redefine the entire playing field. They understand one brutal fact of human nature. People don't follow the truth. They follow the best explanation. The one delivered with confidence, the one that gives them meaning, even if it's a lie. Framing is psychological warfare. It's the art of interpretation. If someone insults you, you don't react, you reframe. Interesting, that's how you show respect? If someone questions your competence, you don't explain, you flip the lens. Insecure people usually do that. You're not reacting, you're rewriting. And here's the Machiavellian genius. Framing lets you appear weak, confused, or even foolish, while secretly tightening the leash. Because when you control how others perceive events, you control what they believe about you and themselves. This is why Machiavelli advised princes to sometimes appear weaker or dumber than they really are. Not because weakness is strategic, but because misdirection is lethal. While your enemies underestimate you, you're setting traps. While they relax, you're calculating. And by the time they realize what's happening, it's already done. Tactical implementation. Speak last. The last word is the final frame. Reframe insults as confessions. Turn every attack into self-exposure. Redefine power. Make your composure feel more dangerous than their aggression. Own the narrative. Whoever defines the story controls its ending. This is the reason dictators use propaganda, why con men use storytelling, why charismatic leaders don't debate, they declare, because the frame is the fight, and the one who frames reality first and best wins. So stop chasing arguments, stop defending yourself, start setting the lens, because when people see the world through your eyes, you never need to force them to act. They'll follow the vision you sold them. Control the story, and the outcome is already yours. Rule number 6. Keep your intentions hidden until it's too late. If they know what you're planning, they'll resist. If they think they know, they'll prepare. But if they believe you're harmless while you're building your trap, they'll walk into it smiling. That's the final Machiavellian rule. Keep your intentions hidden until it's far too late. This is the difference between the manipulator and the martyr. The manipulator waits. He plays dumb, he plays nice, he plays dead if he must, but always with his eyes open. Because the greatest moves in power aren't made in public, they're made in the dark. Most people give themselves away. They reveal their goals through urgency, validation seeking, or emotional leakage. They can't stay quiet, they need to be seen. And that's why they fail. Machiavelli knew the truth. Deception isn't sin, it's strategy. Not because you're evil, but because people are reactive. When you show your hand too early, they'll attack it. But if you let them believe they're ahead, you can close the door when they least expect it. Strategic misdirection is your sword. Feed them false clues. Share selective truths. Build fake alliances that serve real ends. Show them the pawn while hiding the queen. Keep them comfortable, predictable, overconfident. That's when you strike. This tactic isn't about lying all the time. It's about timing your truth. It's about dropping the final piece of your plan only when every other piece is immovable, not a second before. Want an example? Look at how corporate takeovers happen. Months of silence, friendly meetings, handshakes, then one boardroom vote, and it's over. The company's gone, not because of brute force, but because the real moves were invisible. Want another? Look at how Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon. No warning, no announcements. One moment he was a loyal Roman general. The next, he was Rome's dictator. No buildup, no negotiation, just power executed without warning. Here's your execution plan. Don't explain. Let your results speak. Don't correct assumptions. Use them. Don't announce intentions. Act then explain, if ever. Don't rush. Let them sleep while you sharpen your edge. Because when the strike finally comes, it shouldn't feel like an attack. It should feel like fate. Let them underestimate you. Let them write you off. That's the setup. But when it's time to move, don't flinch. Don't wait. Don't warn. Strike with such precision that by the time they realize your true power, it's already over. You've been a pawn long enough. Playing fair, speaking plain, showing all your cards. That ends now. You are no longer a participant in other people's games. You are the mastermind behind your own. Every rule you've just absorbed, selective honesty, mirrored manipulation, strategic absence, hidden intentions, these aren't tricks. They are tools of dominance, and you now have the blueprint. But understand this, these tools don't make you a villain. They make you untouchable in a world that preys on the unaware. The average man still believes fairness will save him, still believes being understood will earn him power. You know better now. The game isn't won by those who play it safe, it's won by those who engineer the board. This transformation is internal before it's ever external. You don't announce it, you live it. Quietly, relentlessly, strategically. Your decisions shift, your silence gains weight, your presence begins to command. You're not here to be feared, you're here to be respected without negotiation. So when someone asks you what changed, you don't explain. You look them in the eye and you let them feel it. Because now you don't seek power, you are power. In a world ruled by illusions, clarity is dominance. And now you see it. The lies, the manipulation, the soft traps hidden behind smiles. But more importantly, you see the leverage points. Understand this, outsmarting anyone isn't about being the most intelligent. It's about being the most aware, the most precise, the most calculated. The world isn't fair, and it never was. But the man who sees the strings pulls them. You've just unlocked the 6 rules that most will never even glimpse. While they chase approval, you'll manufacture perception. While they react, you'll anticipate. While they beg for respect, you'll command it in silence. But power is nothing without action. Knowing is not enough. You must now become this strategy. So here's your final move. Subscribe now. Not for inspiration, not for motivation, but for domination. Because while others play checkers, you're about to flip the damn board. And remember this, power isn't taken from the strong, it's stolen from the unaware.